We talk a lot about the divide in America. Saw it in St. Louis, what we just talked about. Rich versus poor, elite versus the rest of us, red versus blue. I woke up this morning to a tweet from my good friend Mike Allen, co-founder of Axios, one of the best observers of the human equation I know. Stunning stat. 37% of Republicans in Axios-Ipsos polls see fentanyl, opioids, as America's #1 health threat, why it matters. Opioids have devastated Appalachia and the Rust Belt, hugely uncovered, but daily reality in red states. For Dems, guns are #1. Batya Ungar-Sargon's here, deputy opinion editor at Newsweek, also one of the best observers of the human equation I know. Batya, it's good to see you. Look, people are entitled to their own opinions. You're not entitled to your own facts. Fentanyl kills at least double what guns do in America, 4 times as many if you take suicide by gun out. And what I'm wondering is, why is there this sort of knee-jerk reaction, or what does it say, that a certain percent of the population just doesn't even view it as a risk?
Because, Leland, as we talk about all the time here, and as if you cover extensively on your show, one of the few who does, you know, this is not about a political divide. This is about a class divide. Certain Americans are living with the consequences of globalization, offshoring of manufacturing, the decimation of the American working class, and that is who fentanyl is targeting. And as we know, those Americans do not have a voice. Their suffering does not matter, certainly to the Americans living in big cities and the Americans in the elite setting policy. They are invisible to them, and so their deaths are invisible. Meanwhile, the truth about gun violence is, as you stated, 56% of gun deaths are suicides. 20% of them are young black men between the ages of 15 and 25. 70% of the victims of gun violence were black last year, and the rest is domestic violence. So if you're not living with an abusive partner, if you're not suicidal, and if you're not a young black male living in an inner city, you are very unlikely to face any kind of gun violence.
I haven't gotten to congratulate you on your new book, Unpromised Land, Searching for the American Dream in the Blue-Collar Heartland, which is what has been decimated by the fentanyl crisis. When you look into this poll and you see Democrats who say they are worried about gun violence, they view that as the #1 threat in America. Are they worried about the kids on the south side of Chicago? Are they worried about the kids in St. Louis who we're talking about? Or are they worried about, in their mind, the quote-unquote mass shootings? And if only we were to ban high-capacity magazines, everybody in their mind would be safe.
You know what, Leland? If they were worried about the kids on the south side of Chicago, they could do something about that, because that is a liberal city. All of the places where black children are most at risk of getting murdered are controlled by liberals, and they do nothing about it because they just do not care.
You think it's that they don't care, and I got 30 seconds left, or that it's more politically expedient to talk about something else, and caring requires some hard truths that just aren't that fun to talk about?
I think they don't care about anything they can't blame on their political rivals.
Okay, fair enough. A short and direct answer. We appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Leland.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.